Welcome to English Practice Every Day. 5 advanced level English verbs that we will learn today are 1. A bit, a bit. 2. Litigate, litigate. 3. Insinuate, insinuate. 4. Perpetuate, perpetuate. 5. Accentuate, accentuate. Let's start. Please speak out loud with me. 1. A bit. A bit means to become less intense or widespread. A bit means to become less intense or widespread. The pain in my leg finally abated. The pain in my leg finally abated. The storm began to abate after a few hours. The storm began to abate after a few hours. The loud noise from the construction site eventually abated. The loud noise from the construction site eventually abated. As the night went on, the crowd's excitement began to abate. As the night went on, the crowd's excitement began to abate. Second meaning of abate is to reduce or remove a nuisance. Abate means to reduce or remove a nuisance. The city took measures to abate the pollution. The city took measures to abate the pollution. The doctor prescribed something to abate Tim's anxiety. The doctor prescribed something to abate Tim's anxiety. They worked to abate the smell coming from the factory. They worked to abate the smell coming from the factory. Due to our efforts, the mosquito population in the area abated. Due to our efforts, the mosquito population in the area abated. 2. Litigate. Litigate means to take a dispute to a law court. Litigate means to take a dispute to a law court. It's often expensive to litigate a case. It's often expensive to litigate a case. Joe spent years litigating over property rights. Joe spent years litigating over property rights. Will had to litigate to get his rightful inheritance. Will had to litigate to get his rightful inheritance. The company chose to litigate rather than settle. The company chose to litigate rather than settle. 3. Insinuate. Insinuate means to suggest or hint something bad in an indirect and unpleasant way. Insinuate means to suggest or hint something bad in an indirect and unpleasant way. Mary tried to insinuate that Adam was lying. Mary tried to insinuate that Adam was lying. They insinuated that the new policy was unfair. They insinuated that the new policy was unfair. The article insinuated that the company was in trouble. The article insinuated that the company was in trouble. Jean insinuated that Beth was responsible for the mistake. Jean insinuated that Beth was responsible for the mistake. Another meaning of insinuate is to maneuver oneself into a position of favor or office by subtle manipulation. Insinuate means to maneuver oneself into a position of favor or office by subtle manipulation. Jack insinuated himself into Julie's affections. Jack insinuated himself into Julie's affections. Zach insinuated himself into the influential group. Zach insinuated himself into the influential group. The spy insinuated himself into the enemy's camp. The spy insinuated himself into the enemy's camp. Mark tried to insinuate himself into the conversation. Mark tried to insinuate himself into the conversation. 4. Perpetuate. Perpetuate means to make something continue indefinitely, typically an undesirable situation or an unfounded belief. Perpetuate means to make something continue indefinitely, typically an undesirable situation or an unfounded belief. Liz didn't want to perpetuate the rumor any further. Liz didn't want to perpetuate the rumor any further. The new policy may perpetuate existing inequalities. The new policy may perpetuate existing inequalities. The myth was perpetuated by repeated misinformation. The myth was perpetuated by repeated misinformation. The politicians' actions perpetuated the cycle of poverty. The politicians' actions perpetuated the cycle of poverty. 5. Accentuate. Accentuate means to make something more noticeable or prominent. Accentuate means to make something more noticeable or prominent. Amy used makeup to accentuate her eyes. Amy used makeup to accentuate her eyes. The design accentuates the building's height. The design accentuates the building's height. The lighting was designed to accentuate the artwork. The lighting was designed to accentuate the artwork. Jim's speech accentuated the importance of education. Jim's speech accentuated the importance of education. That's all for this vocabulary practice session. Please keep practicing these 5 advanced level verbs that we've learned today until next time when we pick up 5 more words to learn and master. Bye for now.